Hi, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here, which is probably most of you because I don't have that many viewers. So today I'm going to be making over this desk that I found on Facebook Marketplace. The listing was originally for $30, which is already a steal of a deal because if you look on Facebook Marketplace, all of the desks that are halfway decent are going to be either $75 or up, which is like kind of expensive, a little bit out of my price range because I'm a broke college student. But I managed to talk to the seller and I got it down to $20, which is like amazing. So this is going to be my first time making over a furniture piece, a thrifted furniture piece, which it's a new experience, but it's not like my first rodeo with an art project or like designing something, because if you guys didn't know, I am a design major and I'm an artist, and I've been creating content for as long as I can remember, since I was like could hold a pencil pretty much. So I'd like to think I'm a little qualified. So by no means am I a professional. I am a college student. I'm a freshman. So I have like no design like education besides like high school and like middle school and elementary school. So I'm like amateur. However, I really do like upcycling things. I do a lot of thrift flips with my regular clothes and like other thrifted things I find, but just not furniture. This is my first furniture piece. If you've watched any of my other videos, you would probably know, or if you watched my closet tour, honestly, you'd probably know that I really like thrifted and vintage things. So this is like perfect for me. Anyways, so if you look at the desk, this is the original posted listing. So it's a pretty big desk if you look at the measurements, but you can see that his has like curvy legs, which is like hard to make because it involves a big piece of wood, and it has like little bevels around the edges of the drawers, so it's like almost like a little trim, and the hardware is like really nice. It's really fancy, and if you look like the edges like underneath the drawers, like there is another curved edge, like it's not straight, it's not geometric. It's pretty organic, which is like, again, you can tell this desk is like expensive because it's really well made. So this desk is like all around like a really, really good base. Like, I am not a fan of the paint or any of the colors, honestly, but the base itself is really, really nice, which is why I picked it. So this is what the final product is, what someone wanted to make it look like, basically. So stripping it back to what it used to look like. This is what it looks like at first. Then I'm gonna color it like a sage green, like so, like a gray green, because I hate the white, the cream. It's not it. And then I'm going to stain the top like a darker, more neutral tone. So this is the original top, and this is my color that I want. And I'm gonna add a lot of detailing around, which is gonna be made of clay. So I went to go pick it up a couple of days later, and this is me with the desk in the car. This is what it looks like. We just moved it to the backyard. It looks so good. And you know what the best part is? Hold on, let me open this. Damn, look at that. So I ended up going directly to the hardware store, and I went to the greens and grays section, and I picked out a couple, and this is me deciding, so I chose the bottom two. I honestly could not choose between the two, so I bought both, and I was going to choose which one by swatching them. Absolutely could not help myself, so here's me checking out the plants. You should check out my plant tour if you haven't. Didn't buy anything though, so pity. I actually didn't film this, but I picked up a wood stain as well. So let's get to painting this desk. Just ignore those two drawers that are out. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to wipe down the whole thing. You're going to want to clean the whole thing with soap and water. This is just soapy water. So I'm scrubbing. I want to scrub the whole thing, including, like, you take out the drawers and clean, like, underneath the drawer thing, too. So, well, yeah, you get the point. The next thing you want to do right before you paint is you want to take off the hardware. So if you look behind the front of the drawer, there's usually a screw attaching the hardware to the drawer. So just take a screwdriver and screw them off, and you should come off pretty easy. So do this to every single one of the drawers, and you should be good. Okay, you should be good, but the thing with me is I'm not good, because these were nailed on, like, with little nails, so
I'm trying to take it off right here. You can't. There's no way to get like a hammer through there. And if you look at the back, there's no nail hanging out, so you can't really take it out. So, oopsies. So, as you can see, I have already swatched one. Just, it doesn't look that dark. It's just the lighting. So, but this is obviously the darker one. So yeah, I'm getting paint on my brush. I'm gonna paint around the hardware because you don't want to get paint on your hardware. And yeah, you can tell there's a big difference. So what I decided that like I want a color that like is in between these two colors, but that didn't exist in the hardware store. So what I was gonna do is I decided I'm just gonna like mix the two. Like you're not supposed to do that, but alas, you gotta do what you gotta do. So here are the two colors in better lighting. There's a huge difference, so I'm just gonna go ahead and mix them. So here I am. I mix the two paints in a 1-to-1 ratio. That's my cat, and it's like I just did 1 cup to 1 cup because I don't need that much paint. This is just a desk. So this is me swatching it. It looks the exact same as the darkest one because the lighting's shit, but just I promise it's not the same. So just pretend I did the step before I did the swatches because this is probably not the right order, but I'm taping off the top of the desk because I don't want to get paint on that. I just want the body of the desk, not the top. So use painter tape. Don't use masking tape. I tried. It does not go well. So use blue tape or frog tape. But I'd recommend blue tape because it's frog tape just it's so expensive for no reason. So after all of this time, it's finally time to paint. I feel like painting's pretty self-explanatory. I'm just showing this clip here because I feel like, I mean, it's a YouTube video. That's what you do. You show clips of things happening. So, this is me painting it. Paint, paint, paint. Yeah, so when you get in the corners, you just want to, like, if you guys know what dry brushing is, you know, like, the motion you do when you dry brush, basically, like, shove your brush in there. Like, just, like, shove it in. Like, that's how you get into the corners and do that through all the little details and stuff. That way you get paint in there. So you can't do this with, like, a foam roller, so just don't use a foam roller. So here she is, all painted. It looks so good. Like this is better lighting, so you can actually see the color. It's a really nice color. So obviously, because I chose it. Anyways, I'm fucking taking the painter's tape off because we don't need that anymore. So next step is sanding. So go in with an electric sander because it's gonna save you a lot of time and use a pretty low grit so you can get through that varnish really quickly and just sand the whole top. Don't do the sides yet. Because you want to go in and do the sides by hand. See, if you use a electric sander, it's gonna like wear down the corners like really really quickly, and then soon you won't really have any definition. So use your just regular low grit sandpaper and just go over and like fold the sandpaper to make like a little corner, a little edge, and get the edge in the little corners, I guess. Yeah, and just do that for the whole thing. So this is what you're gonna want your tabletop to look like once you're done sanding. As you can tell, it's a lot lighter than it was before. That's because you took off the varnish and the stain. So before you want to stain it, you're gonna have to like get a wet rag and wipe off all the sawdust because you don't want your stain mixing in with the sawdust because it's just gonna like turn clumpy and like gross. So this is the wood stains in ebony, and you can find it at your local hardware store. And get a clean dry rag. This is not clean, but just go with the grain of the wood. Just don't do what I'm doing. I'm doing circular motions. Just don't do that because you're gonna be able to see your rag marks. Yeah, just so if you go with the grain, then you won't be able to tell. At this point, you can go ahead and put the hardware back on, because you will be needing it in that place, and you don't really. Well, you could have just put it back on once you finish painting, but I decided to do it after I finished staining it. It doesn't really matter, because it just matters that you put it on for the next step. Next, you want to get yourself some polymer clay. So next, this is completely optional, by the way. This is like over the top, but you're going to want to start sculpting your details or like your filigree. So this is me sculpting one of the small ones. Make sure you measure it and see that, and make sure that it fits your drawers. So I measured this already, and I'm just adding some final details. Ta-da! So only make one of every single type of filigree that you need. So there should be a left and right one, middle one, etc. And then you bake them. So hard part's over. Time for making molds. So you're gonna want to get some 100% clear silicone. I have Loctite, and then you're going to want to get a tub full of water and then put a bunch of Dawn dish soap in. Use Dawn dish soap because other types of dish soap won't work, and use the original Dawn dish soap because otherwise it just won't work for some reason. I don't know why, but so you squeeze in a bit of silicone, as much as you think you need for the mold, and then you take your hand and just squish the silicone around until it's not sticky anymore. So you're gonna want to knead it inside the water mixture until it's not sticky. And then once you do that, you're going to take your little glob of silicone and the baked filigree that you made and lightly pat it over all the details that you sculpted. So you're gonna want to make sure that your filigree is face up, obviously, and yeah, that we'll wait for the mold to cure for like 20 minutes, and then you should be good. Once it's dry, you can just pop out your baked filigree, and you should have a mold. And you want to take that mold and shove a bunch of polymer clay in there, and then use an X-Acto knife to cut it out, like to cut out the excess, and then pop it out, and then pop it into the oven. And do that for like all of the filigree that you need. Like count all the corners and stuff on your desk, and then yeah, you should just mass produce them basically. So you gotta have a lot of patience for this because it's really repetitive, but it takes a very long time. But the end is very, very worth it. So once you have all of your pieces, this is not all of them, by the way. There's so many more. Once you have them baked and ready to go, you're gonna want to paint them the exact same color that you painted your dresser. So that 1-to-1 ratio of both the paints that I got, I'm gonna use that to paint all of the pieces. And yeah. Once the paint is dried, you're going to want to take a mixture of black and brown and water it down like a bunch, and then take a tiny bit on a small brush, and then go and deepen the details of the filigree, so add some depth and definition to them. So what you can do is just paint the whole thing and then run your thumb over the very top parts so that you take off the paint on the raised areas, and do that for all of them. But then again, this step is extremely unnecessary. You do not have to do this. This is just me. So once you got all your pieces dried and ready to go, get some super glue or a E6000. I recommend E6000, but I just didn't have any of it at the moment. So just put a generous amount on, and then use another piece to make sure that it's situated like correctly, and just glue all of them down, and just based on what you design. So once you have all your pieces glued on, you're going to want to take your black and brown paint that's watered down and do the same thing that you did with the filigree, but just on the outer areas where it meets the desk. And you also want to go around the deepened areas on the desk itself, like around the trim and around any details that the desk has. So this is the last step, I promise. Get some wood finish. I'm using polyurethane or something like that. I don't know. Honestly, it's just what my mom had. Remember to shake the can if it's a spray, and then spray 10 to 12 inches away from the top of the wood. And yeah, give it like 2 to 3 coats and you're done. Well, thanks for watching and making it all the way through the video. I had a lot of fun making this desk, or making over this desk, and thanks for watching. Be sure to check out some of my other videos. It would mean a lot to me. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks. Bye.